Welcome to your Ultimate Life podcast, where we help you break free from mediocrity and create a life of purpose, prosperity, and joy. Get your free video series at yourultimatelife.ca.
Hi there. Welcome to this episode of Your Ultimate Life, the podcast committed and dedicated to helping you discover the tools, the teachings, and the applications that let you create a life of your own, of purpose, prosperity, and joy. And I'm grateful to have a special guest today with me, TJ Hayes. TJ, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor.
Well, the honor's mine. I know you, and I've had a chance to just chat with you a couple of times. And, you know, it's been a revelation. And being a guest like you are and sharing stories and encouragement and love is rewarding, but it's sometimes scary and difficult. And so I just want you to feel good about yourself and what you're doing. So thanks for being with me today.
I appreciate that so much.
So one of the first things I like to ask, and I don't want you to be modest. I'd like you to just think with me. How is TJ going about adding good to the world? How do you add good to the world?
You know, that is an amazing question because I have actually asked people that before as well. And I don't think that I realized what that meant until I started my healing journey. And now it's like I wake up every morning with gratitude that I'm waking up and opening my eyes. And I really pray and ask God, how can I help someone today? That is my prayer every day. And I think after these two words, soul hygiene, were given to me a couple years ago, I really feel like that is what I want to do. And I know that anyone who really wants to heal can heal. And I'm really excited now about my healing journey because I feel like this is me giving back to the world that took so much from me for 25 years. And it makes me happy. This is my happiness, is making other people smile. And even though it's hard, I'm not going to say that coming out of a victimized mindset and starting to heal is easy. It's so worth it. And I just want to go on that journey with people. I want them to know that they're loved and that someone else has been there before them. And so that's my way of giving back to people.
You know, it's interesting. I talk, 1,000 episodes here, and I've been on hundreds of episodes. People talk a lot about their own trauma, difficulty, struggle, victim. Then they talk about this healing process, this healing journey, let's just call it that. And you just mentioned it. And, well, I have several pieces, several threads, but let's just start with this one.
Okay.
We are sort of conditioned to be competitive, to get everything we can, to get good grades, good jobs, get good money. And in that process, lots of people get taught to be unkind, to be cruel, to be, me first and only me and, screw you and that kind of thing. And I don't know all the details about the things that happened to you, but you said coming out from victim to a place of healing. What is the thing? What happened to you that stuffed you in the victim corner for 25 years?
Well,
whatever you want to share about it.
No, and what soul hygiene is a vulnerability process for me because I was such a shell of a person for so many years. And I feel like me being vulnerable can help other people be vulnerable as well. And that is the first step to healing because you truly have to look inside yourself and be vulnerable. And I can talk about my story now and not cry because I have won, I've already won that victory. So,
well, I don't care if you do cry. It's okay too. So
it's sometimes I do tear up thinking about it. But
yeah, the vulnerability that you've said, I know you're going to tell me a bit or much of the story. That's great. But I like to start there because one of the things that connects people to guests or hosts, either one, or just people they talk to, is the feeling that they're relatable. They're not alone and there's enough
Yeah.
similarity that, we can like feel like we're buds a little, we've done that.
Right.
So please
Yeah.
share whatever you'd like to about the things that brought you first to a shell of a person, as you talked about earlier.
Certainly. Well, um, I grew up in, I would call a sheltered Christian home. I really didn't know much about the world, except what was, told to me. And I want to preface this with I don't blame my parents whatsoever. My parents are the most loving and kind people, and you only know what you know. And, I love my parents, and right now I'm taking care of them as, they're elderly in their 70s, and I wouldn't have it any other way. But when I was 18, I went to my first party, and um I really didn't think much of it. I wasn't dressed provocatively. If, people have asked me that. I don't think that matters, but um I was slipped something, and I was raped by multiple people that night. And um I used to look back and wonder, like, did I do something? Did I, provoke? But I had to put that blame on them and not carry that guilt with me. But that comes later on, because at that point, I had guilt, and I'd never told my parents the story. I'd never told them what had happened because I knew that it would devastate them. And so I held it inside. The only person that really knew was my future husband, at the time. And it was a journey for a couple of years. You know, watching over my shoulder and wondering, you know, are they going to come back? Are they going to do it again? But going forward, my husband at the time was okay in the beginning, but ended up not being such a nice person. And I was always taught growing up that you're a housewife and a mother first. The man's the head of the household. Um, so I kind of lived my life like that. But the problem was, because I never got help for that initial thing that happened to me when I was 18, it created PTSD. And I started having nightmares, continual nightmares. And so I lost the worth that God had given me. I lost the womanhood that, God had given me. And I just became a shell of a person. And on the outside, no one knew the difference because I always kept a smile on my face. I always tried to help people when I could. But in the deepest parts of my soul, I was dying. And I ended up choosing the wrong men over and over and over again to be my partner because I became acclimated to such emotional and physical abuse that I thought that's all there was. That's all there was to me. That's what I was destined for, I guess. And even though I had the light of God within me, I wasn't using it. I wasn't using the talents and the strength that He had given me, um, because I couldn't figure out how to get out of this mindset and how to choose different, you know. Um,
Before you go on, I want to say a couple
yes.
things, and I want you to tell me how you learned to choose different because obviously where you are, you've done much, or I don't know how much, tons of healing, and you're in a completely different place. But I just want to empathize, and I want to just say to the listeners, so many people, myself included, we were raised in a situation that attacked our worth. And we didn't have anywhere to get support. And what I'm hearing from you is a terrible monstrosity of a thing happened to you. You were abused by a group of
Hmm.
people who didn't care what happened to you and didn't care what it did. So
Right.
that's thing number one. Number two, you didn't have anywhere to go talk. You didn't have anywhere to let it out. You didn't have anywhere to get support. And number three, you somehow had this drama in yourself that it was your fault, that you'd done something wrong, that
Hmm.
you'd said something wrong, that you'd looked a funny way, or that you'd done something and you imagined. And I'm making part of this up, but I can just sort of imagine all the dance in your head about what did I do? What could I have done different? How did I deserve this? How did I bring this on myself? and all that kind of crap, and it is crap that we do to
Yeah.
ourselves over and over again. So not only did a terrible thing happen, you were forced by circumstance to keep it bottled up because you thought you would be blamed, this typical blame the victim stuff. And
Yeah.
then you had this whole fear that maybe I deserved it, maybe it was my fault. And so that's just, a triple whammy of attack on your self-worth, your self-esteem, your worthiness, your capability. So it isn't weird that you spun that cycle and attracted those things over and over again. And it's not because something's wrong with you or it's none of that stuff. And we now know a lot more about it than we did 10 years, 20 years, 30 years ago.
Right.
Anyway, I want you to
Right.
talk about what happened to break
Yeah.
it and how you then began to climb and have been climbing this mountain of both recovery and now of extending help to others.
Certainly. So, in 2013, excuse me, I was paralyzed with Guillain-Barré syndrome, and I had to learn how to walk. And I think that was the first time I had really struggled with who I was, and where I was going, because I had no help except my parents, who were older at the time, and then my children. It was just me and my kids. And then 2 years later, I was diagnosed with MS, and my whole world was switched upside down. So, at that time, I had met a gentleman who ended up being the worst relationship I'd ever been in. Very abusive, very emotionally abusive. But I was so sick at the time that um, I just, I melted. Like it just melted into a ball of goo, I guess is how I would say it, because I didn't feel like I had anywhere to go anymore. I was sick, and that was the worst part of it. But then 2019 came, and he left under very bad circumstances. And I thought I would feel free, but I didn't know what to do. I was heartbroken again because for 25 years, that abuse was all I knew. And so now I'm alone, and I'm like, well, who am I? I don't want to live the rest of my life being heartbroken all the time, being, no one paying attention to me for who I truly am, who God made me to be. Like, what am I supposed to do? And I was on the precipice of ending my life. I truly was. And this is the
Mhm.
turning point, because I had veteran friends who had PTSD, and I had a really good pastor at the time who talked with me for 2 days. I didn't sleep for 2 days. And I call it the three darkest days of my life, because I teetered between ending my life and staying. Um, and I cry about that only because those were the worst days. When you think about, I I could I may not be here had it not been for the people who intervened in my life. And I truly believe people come along right when you need them. I don't believe in coincidences. Um, but on that third day, when I finally got some rest and I prayed, and God was like, you have the light of me within you. Use it. Use that strength I gave you. Use that determination I gave you. You're strong. And it was like, I woke up and I'm like, you know what? I determined I am going to switch my mindset. And that was the first time that I truly had to take accountability, because in life, we have to take accountability for our actions and choices too. It's not always everybody else. And that's where the victimized mindset comes into play, because you can be a victim all you want, but being a victim means you're not taking responsibility and accountability, especially when it comes to, even when I look back on the rape, no, that wasn't my fault. I had to forgive them. That was my accountability. I had to forgive them, because if I did not forgive them for what they did to me, I would be an angry, nightmare-ridden old lady for the rest of my life.
I need to stop you there because I love you so much. I love what you're saying because people so often they get furious at the idea of forgiving people who have offended or wronged you. Let me be clear. There is no excuse. There is no okayness. Forgiveness has nothing to do with ignoring a wrong or pretending it away or excusing the behavior of people who, for whatever reason, have committed heinous acts of any kind. So I'm agreeing with you 100%, and I want to just emphasize for listeners, when she says take responsibility and accountability, she just means for her own mindset, right? You just mean for your own mindset and your own actions, which means, and what you said, I loved it. I said, I'm done being a victim. I'm done letting the demons of the past control me. I'm done letting the 18-year-old thing and the last years with the other guy that was a jerk. I'm done letting that define the rest of my days. They don't get to decide what road I walk down. I have switched roads. I take responsibility. And that's one. And then the other thing is you said a powerful thing, which is I choose to forgive those people, not because they deserve it, not because whatever. I don't know. That's not mine. But I have taken the bitterness and revenge and anger and punishment and whatever word you want to use. I've taken that out of my heart because I don't want it poisoning my path forward.
Yep.
And so it's precious doctrine, teaching, and power. Keep going.
Well, it was after that God just really gave me this light. And I created the Beard, Love, and Bacon Project, which we raised for veterans with PTSD and suicide awareness for almost 2 years.
Who's we?
And my business partner and I, Rich. And then
okay, I didn't know you had a business partner. That's okay. You said we.
I'm sorry. And some other veteran friends who are actually in the group.
Keep going.
So, yeah. And then for the next 2 years, it was, I created my meditation exercise and journal called the 7 Days of Soul Scrubbing. And I use it every single day because people with trauma need to have in front of them goodness. They need to have in front of them positivity and encouragement and inspiration every day so that they don't regress back into that victimized mindset. And so I use that every single day, and it's just based on 7 words that I use. And it's amazing. It's changed my life because I really just concentrate on what can I do today to make somebody else, their life better. Then I almost died of COVID in 2022.
All right, before you stop there, go back, and I want to get all the juice out of that other stuff, and then we can jump up to dying of COVID or trying to. The journal, 7 words, it doesn't matter. What matters is use it every day. Create a thing. You said get positivity and encouragement in front of you. I couldn't agree more, and I just want to love you for that because it's like you took responsibility, you listened to inspiration and intuition, the divine spoke, and however that is for you, it doesn't matter, spoke to you and said, you have the light, you have the capability, and you decided not only to go to work on you, but you felt the yearning to be of service to others. You created the thing for veterans with PTSD because you had PTSD. You had the ability to do it because you had just been healing yourself in all these amazing ways. And so the thing that you said that just made me sing and dance is every day I don't skip. I do this meditation. Why? Because I need it. And it puts positivity and growth and capability in front of me. So that's my diet instead of negative things and fearful thoughts and all the rest. And so again, precious truth, daily repetition, daily exercise, daily finding your faith and purpose once again. I love it.
It really truly is. Like, even if you start with daily affirmations, just the simple things. But for me, I needed, as I went through the 25 years, I needed something to where I was growing and learning every day. Every single day, I want to learn something new. Every single day, I want to grow into a better human being. And so that's why I have a routine every day, that I do that keeps those negative thoughts and those fears away. So, yeah.
That's precious. Now we can go back to the comma and jump up to COVID. But I just wanted to get the joy out of that habit that you've created and
Mhm.
agree and recommend it to those that are listening.
Yeah, for sure. And that's one thing I've sent out about 50 free copies to people, and I've just the people that have come back and said it's helped them. It blesses me. That's my way of really giving back. And I feel like when I am giving, when I am helping other people, I'm healing. That I'm healing within myself when I'm a servant, when I have that servant's attitude, and that's who we're supposed to be. That's what I feel like this life is about. Um, but yeah, when jumping forward, I guess to COVID, I was diagnosed with a heart condition and then almost died of COVID the same year. And I was on, this is all new hair. I lost almost all my hair, and I was on oxygen for about 4 months. And that's where soul hygiene came in. Like, I was just down in the dumps. And,
Did you
you
ever ask
know,
yourself, I've been through this terrible rape and a series of bad relationships, and I'm finally making progress. Why am I getting blasted with COVID and uh, whatever it is, all the stuff, oxygen and no hair and whatever it is? Did you ever get frustrated and
yeah,
wondered, like, what did I do? Did that
but
happen?
you know what? I did. But you know what? As soon as I did that, my mindset switched because I had trained myself so much to, when that negativity came into my mind, when I questioned why, I switched it and tried to find the blessings and tried to find the good in it. So when I say I almost died of COVID, I did, but I'm also a walking miracle. And the doctors know that. They saw it. I was able to sing to them as my lungs were getting better. And, the nurses were like, oh my goodness, you have such a beautiful voice, even though I was only whispering. And the doctors were, wanting to put me on a ventilator. And I said, no, I'm not giving you permission. Let me heal. Let me try on my own. And they almost lost me the third day, but by the seventh day, he could hear it in my lung. And he's like, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And all I was doing was praising God and trying to sing, and that's all I was doing. And I didn't have to go on a ventilator. I was off the oxygen by New Year's. And um, I really truly believe God gave me those 2 words, soul hygiene, by March. And my life is just, I've actually had a surgery where I almost died. I did die, actually. I had to have CPR. And again, I could have said, why, God? Why
What
are
was the
you, why?
surgery for? Was that related to COVID or something else?
No, I had we tried to have a complete hysterectomy last year,
Oh, okay.
and my heart stopped
Oh, wow.
20 minutes into the surgery. So I had to go 9 weeks with some cracked ribs and a cracked sternum. And
I mean, because they
healing,
were jumping up and down on you
yeah,
to restart your
yeah,
heart. Holy moly.
yeah. But
Okay, keep going. Wow.
yep, we had a successful one this last March this year, which went, splendidly. But had that not happened last year, I would have not met my doctor this year, who was such a blessing, and I was able to share my story with him and his surgeons and give them, my webpage and have them listen to the podcast, and for them to be blessed. So I feel like, everything that has come into my life, post healing or during healing, um, I don't believe in coincidences. I believe that if this is what my journey is, if MS, a heart condition, almost dying, if this is what my journey is, then I believe there's good in it. And
Just
I
describe
don't,
some of the good. I'm going to agree with you 100%, but I don't want to leave this in the place of sort of woo woo weirdness where people say, well,
right.
everything happens for a reason. So I agree with you, but let's go down the road. What are some of the blessings? Like you said, one, I got a chance to talk to some medical people and share some
Right.
things with them, and at your expense. So you're suffering,
Right.
struggling,
Yeah.
dying, having surgeries, all this
Hmm.
stuff. And I want you to speak what you think the blessings are.
Well, one of the biggest blessings I had, and let's not talk about the surgeries, but from the abuse, was that I have a perspective that is relatable to the women who have been through abuse. And I've been able to help other women either understand what's going on, get the help they need because I couldn't get the help I need, or I wasn't looking for it. That's, I look at when I can help somebody because of what I've been through, that's my biggest blessing. And
So you're
I've
saying it was
also,
worth it. It's worth it for you to have suffered this unfairly and everything else so that you can be the light and the call to action and the support for somebody else.
I would say at this point in my life, yes,
What a
I would not
powerful
be the
thing.
person I am right now. I would not have grown and really created those, 7 days of soul scrubbing or have known what it feels like to heal had I not been through that. And like I said, I don't believe that God wants us to go through that. I don't believe He wants us to go through hurt and devastation and trials of life, but I know that there are good things that can be pulled from it. If we just look, if we are conscious, there will be clarity. And but a lot of people don't want to look for the blessings. They just want to brood in the victimhood and in the trials that they're going through. But I guarantee there's triumph after the trials, and there is peace and purpose. And I know that if people truly want to heal, they can look back and find blessings even in their trials and in being a victim and whatever they have gone through because I did. And I'm a testament that it can happen. And I know it can happen for other people.
I love that. I just grateful. So I want to make sure that people know all the different things you've written or books or podcasts or whatever. So my just tell us everywhere to find each of those things. What are the names of those things? Which ones are going on currently and all that stuff.
Well, my website is Soul Hygiene. That's SOULHYGIENE.net. On there, you can find, what soul hygiene is about. I call it nurturing minds and nourishing souls. Together, we can
Mm.
all be victorious. And I call it, it's a team. It's a team effort. I don't feel like any one person should be alone. And so this is my way of being a cheerleader for the people who truly want to heal and self-reflect and really soul scrub. The 7 days of soul scrubbing, that's free right now. You can email soulhygiene.net and I can send you a copy. I am working on 4 ebooks and some courses, and I'm
Hold on.
hoping to.
What's the email? Like, is there a
Oh,
something
it's
at soulhygiene.net?
soulhygiene.net@gmail.com.
All right. Soulhygiene.net at gmail.com. So there's dots all
Yep,
over in there.
yep,
Soulhygiene.net at gmail.com. Good. I wanted to make sure
yep,
people
yep.
could do that. Keep
It's
going.
at the bottom of the web page as well
Okay.
if they want. Also at the bottom of the web page is the private Facebook group, the Twitter, the Instagram, all those fun places where I post stuff as well. This is me. I'm doing it by myself. I have one other person who helps me with YouTube, but so I'm hoping like in the next year or so we'll be a lot more abundant with everything that we're putting out there. But right now I don't think
What's
it's
your,
slow.
keep going. You really what?
I really think that that as doing it by myself, I'm really getting content out there. So I'm hoping to
I,
bring more on.
I think your stuff's amazing and I love it. I, um, what do you hope to do in the next 6 months or year? Like you said, you're creating some ebooks and some
Hmm.
Kindle. I don't like them ebooks. Kindle, right?
Yep.
Because ebook is like old school, and people think of these little
Right.
cheesy PDFs, and I don't want to make it sound like that. So you're going to create some Kindle books, and is there a
Mm,
course or worksheets with them?
yes,
Or
I'm
okay,
working on some courses, and in the next year, I'm hoping to have all that on the website and ready to go.
so that'll all be at
Um,
soulhygiene.net.
Correct. Yep.
Good. Well, is that
Yep.
like 6 months? Is that a year? Do you have
Um,
a
Hopefully by
commit
the end
on
of
the
this
air?
year. Yep. Oh boy. Well, I do work a full-time job and take care of my parents, so
Oh, wow.
setting a strict date is a little bit hard, but
Okay.
yeah, I'm hoping by my birthday next year. So
When's
one
your
year from
birthday?
now, next week. Yep.
Next week. Okay. So next June, huh?
Yep, next June, I'm hoping to have all of that done and even be going on to another venture, still doing podcasting, but I want to start a nonprofit as well. So,
Oh, well, that's exciting. So when you get
yeah.
ready to do that, if you don't have somebody to do it, I have a client whose whole business is helping people do nonprofits, and he's helped
Oh,
thousands. So
wonderful.
he's the best
Yep.
in the business. Well, TJ, you're a miracle. You are a walking miracle. You're a marvelous light. Your face is bright. Your heart is light. And you just told me a whole bunch. I'm working a full-time job taking care of my parents. And oh, by the way, trying to save the world one downtrodden PTSD soul, veteran or woman or whatever at a time. So bless your
Yeah.
heart.
Thank you. And that's all I pray for is that when I leave this earth, they can say she made a difference in one person and she
You
loved
already
God.
have. So don't say that, because then you could die tomorrow and you win. You got lots more to
Yeah.
affect and lots more love to give and light to shine. The amount of stuff you've been through, that means a long and prosperous amount of time
Yeah.
sharing your light. Thank you for being with us today.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's such an honor. Such an honor.
Well, I want you listeners, listen to this. Like, go through this. Go to that website, soulhygiene.net. Go there. Get some stuff. Like, this is a woman who's been through the trenches, has been through her own version of battles, but they're the same as yours and mine. We doubt
Hmm.
ourselves. We go through unfair struggles and all the rest. And the purpose is to help us grow and develop. And I know if you do, you can achieve, you can grow, and you'll be living your ultimate life.
Open your heart and this time around, stand.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. We hope that you take it deeply into your heart and decide for yourself how you can create anything you desire. If you like what you heard, please subscribe to this podcast and share it with your friends. As always, we'd love to hear your feedback and topic suggestions. Until tomorrow, this is Your Ultimate Life with host Kellan Fluckiger.
Stand with your heart.